are back for episode two, man. We are getting this year kicked off right. Hey, everybody. I hope everybody is having a great Saturday and a great weekend so far. My name is Don Terrell, and I want to welcome you to another great episode of The Color of Motion, where I like to say stories come in all shades. And I highlight people of color and diverse backgrounds in the industry of motion graphics, animation, visual effects, cartoons, and comics. This space that I'm just so passionately crazy about. Again, I want to welcome you to the show. You know the drill. Hey, while I'm checking to make sure everything is broadcasting right, make sure you hop in, say hey, so I can give you a shout out for sure. Mr. DeAndre, appreciate you tuning in there, brother. And as always, supporting the show. Can't thank you enough. As you can see, I'm having a little fun with some of the other camera views that I kind of got set up for the show, but definitely want to hear from you. Let me know what you think of the show, think of the new look, trying out some different things and different scenes for sure. So appreciate everybody that, as always, supports the show. Also, kind of give you a little behind the scenes of, kind of how the show is put together and what I have to go through to put it together. But I have so much fun as well just doing the show. Appreciate that. Like I said, brother, great, super talented guest from last season one, Mr. DeAndre Reed. As always, I appreciate that. Let's see. Uh, Make sure that you get connected into the group. It's growing at a rapid pace. We have some fun conversations, share industry news, and just, like I said, all around fun. Facebook.com/groups/, the color of motion. And I want you to get engaged and be a part of the show and the community. Like I said, making sure that we are live on all my channels here. So while, like I said, I am doing that again, I want you to jump into the community or jump into the comments and say hey, so I can give you a shout out for sure. Want to make also make sure that you share this with your community because if you feel like there's somebody that would enjoy this, I definitely want you to share the love for sure. All right, all right. We are, I think, live in you know all the pages here. So I am super, super excited to get episode two rolling there for sure. Uh, what else, man? I'm just super happy that you guys are joining me. Been looking forward to this episode. My next guest for a while. I know you're gonna enjoy her. Like I said, she's getting season two kicked off in grand style for the ladies. You know, I think my first guest was took me a couple of shows season one before I had my first uh, female guest on the show. So I can't express my happiness enough. Uh, Make sure that you connect with me on all my social channels. You can find me here and get connected with me. Definitely want to hear from you. Let me know what you think of the show. If there's anything you might want to see, any guests that you may want me to try and get on. definitely want to hear that as well. Again, we stream live to my LinkedIn channel, YouTube, and the Facebook page and group. But I do always kind of encourage people to hop on over and sign up for the YouTube channel. Check it out. Check it out. Be a part of the community. We'll watch it too. We've had a lot of great guests on there. You can check out all the past great guests that we've had on, all the other great content that I'm putting up on the channel, and just be a part of the community as well. Also, if you'd like to support the show and me putting content up, hey, I love a great cup of coffee. Buy me a cup of coffee. Buy me a coffee at Don Terrell. You know, give whatever you want. There's a membership on there for $5 a month, or you can do the whole year for $50 a month. It'll definitely help me to continue to make great content, bring all these great guests. I hit the wrong button. That's the nature of live. Sorry. But definitely will help me to continue to bring great guests on the show, continue to help me create content and just bring value to you. So again, like I said, I love a great cup of coffee, and I'll be putting these up again at the end of the show for sure. Uh, what else? Like I said, we got a lot of great things planned for this season. Uh, the site is, in the works. It will be up soon. Like I said, the swag's getting ready to come out. So, like I said, I am just super pumped about season two. Definitely trying to, like I said, always continue to level up the show and bring you the absolute best that I can bring. Ballistics Comics. I appreciate you jumping in and saying, hey, hope you enjoyed the show. That's a new viewer there. Make sure that you get plugged into the community as well. Before we get it kicked off, I definitely want to give a shout out to our sponsor, DG Graphics. Does all the graphics, the overlays, animations for the show, and helps it to look really good. So if you're a business or brand that's looking to level up your brand design or start a live stream show, they definitely can help you out there. Everything from animated overlays, again, explainer videos, intros, outros, they make you look good. So definitely check them out, and want to thank DG Graphics for sponsoring the show for sure, for sure. All right. Like I said, I'm all ready to dive into this. Again, this show is for you, so I definitely want you to be engaged, ask questions, comments, just be a part of the show. Right. And with that, we are going to get this mother started right. My next guest is your friendly neighborhood freelance illustrator, animator from the U.S. Virgin Islands, and she specializes in creating fun illustrations and visual development for family content. She got her start while in college, where she was approached to illustrate a children's book, and she's been working ever since, nonstop. Her work aims to provide the people of today with a window into themselves through imagination, illustration, and animation. Everybody, please help me welcome my very special guest and friend, Miss Erin Merchant.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Aaron, for agreeing to be on the show. Like I said, I've been just super excited. We connected sometime last year and just been super looking forward to having you on the show.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah, this has been in the works for a while.
Yes, it has. And like I said, I can't thank you enough for just being part of the Color of Motion family. Before we get going with the interview, throw a few comments on there. As always, Miss Elizabeth. Hey yo, appreciate you tuning in as always and supporting the show. Can't thank you enough for that. And we're gonna dive like right into this, Aaron. What is it about children's illustrations that you love so much? I mean, we're gonna take a look at her work in a minute. She does some just amazing illustrations, children's contents, books, and uh, that type of thing. So I want to know what is it that kind of just does it for you, but with children's illustrations.
It's I'm a big kid at heart. I'm a big kid at heart, and I'm a sucker for a good story. I am,
All right,
and
all
I feel
right.
like the biggest reach to like touch the youth and inspire them. You got to get them while they're kids.
Awesome, awesome. I mean, did when you were younger, was this what you had in mind and what you were doing? Were you always artistically inclined, or did you have something else, kind of that you thought you might be doing?
I've always done art, but for the longest time, I didn't know what to do with it. So like I've always drawn pictures, I've done paintings, sculpture, photography. Like I've dabbled in it all, and I didn't um, realize that I wanted to be in animation until a little bit later. Like I was probably like 11 or 12, and I don't know if you remember Disney used to have like the in between shorts,
Yeah.
and they would highlight an animator, and they would be like, "Hey, I'm such and such, and I'm gonna draw Mickey Mouse." And it was always like a white male that
Yeah.
would do it. And then one day I looked up, and it was Bruce W. Smith, and I think it was the Emperor's New Groove that had just come out, or
Mm-hmm.
it was about to come out.
Yeah.
And he was like, "I'm gonna draw Cusco," and I was like, it never clicked that like black people make cartoons too. Like I could do this. And ever since, like that's been my path. I've been trying to get there.
Oh man, and actually have been, and hopefully Bruce, if you're watching this, I've been reaching out. Hopefully get you on the show for sure. So definitely, and I know what you mean. Like I said, as a kid, and it's funny because, like I said, it seems I have this conversation all the time, or it comes up with every artist or guest that I bring on. Is that when they were younger, it just never clicked. One, that people made a living doing this, and two, that they were
Right, right,
people of color doing this.
right. It's just it never occurred to me to like do it. And then of course I come from like a West Indian family, and my dad's like military. So if you gonna do it right. So he was just like, all right, we gonna do this, we gonna do it.
And you
So.
said, like I said, you just said you come from a military family, so you kind of moved around a little.
Mhm.
Um,
A
how were
little,
your
I have moved every year of my life
really?
since I was born.
Wow,
I didn't get stability until I went to college.
really? Wow,
So my father
wow.
was a single parent in the military.
Oh,
So
okay.
everywhere he went, we went.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So, brothers, sisters. Do you have brothers?
Yes, I have a bunch of brothers and sisters. I have 5 brothers and 3 sisters. I'm one of 9.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, we kind of share a little in common. I'm one of 10. So,
Really, I'm one of 9. I have 5 brothers and 3 sisters, and I like fall right in the middle.
okay, I'm the last of the Mohicans there. So,
Oh, you the baby.
hey, I like to say I'm the youngest. Everybody would say, "Oh, you're the baby."
Oh,
No, I'm the youngest.
youngest. Okay, you're the youngest.
But how was? I mean, um, so you got a chance to see a lot of different, moving around a lot of different,
Hmm.
obviously animations and illustrations. Um, did it give you kind of this uh, different perspective on, your work and how you drew and just what you saw?
Um, I know for the longest I used to just like Disney was the standard. Disney was the standard for me for the longest. That was what I got exposed to the most. That's what I had access to. And then we went to Korea with my dad, and I got exposed to Studio Ghibli. I saw Spirited Away for the first time. That
Mm,
completely changed how I saw stories. Just
yeah.
like how, like, I actually paid attention to the narrative that was being told.
Awesome. Yeah, anime seems there in anime seems to do that. It just comes from a different perspective and really makes you
Mm-hmm.
because it's such a cerebral. Even though it's illustration animation, their stories are so deep. And like I said, I think I must have watched Akira like 3 or 4 or 5 times
Oh
before it
yeah, the
really
classic.
really just kind of sunk in there. Um, but you went to school at SCAD, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I first attended an HBCU, and then I went to SCAD.
okay, what HBC
So
do
I
you?
attended the illustrious Savannah State University.
Okay, okay. Now, did they have a design, program or curriculum or illustration or animation?
So they have a BFA, so it's a Bachelor of Visual and Performing Arts. So you do they it was good for me because it made me a generalist, so I got to do some of everything. So I got to dabble in painting. I did photography. I did some graphic design. I did a little bit of illustration. I even did and I worked with the theater department a lot. So like they would build the sets and then I would come in and help paint them. So like I had a little bit of everything. I've touched a little bit of everything. So that was really good for me.
Okay.
Um,
And
but
then you went to
because
SCAD.
SCAD is there,
Yeah,
yeah, and then I went to SCAD, and SCAD is pretty much home of the arts.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I'm glad you kind of said that you went to, HBCU. I mean, you know, from your perspective, I mean, what was kind of the, difference between the two? What did you feel like, you know, you got from one that you didn't get from the other, that type of thing?
It so I'll say this. My HBCU gave me like a 4 year break from having to deal with being black in predominantly white spaces. But one thing I will say about my HBCU, they prepare you for life in every aspect. They show you how to get into a room and work a room. They show you how to speak up and use your voice, how to network professionally, how to not just work within because I noticed that SCAD it's very siloed. So if you're in animation,
Yeah,
those are the only people you come in contact with. That's the only media you work with. At Savannah State, it was very collaborative. So we would do stuff with the business department. Like we would do stuff with the business department, or we would do stuff with the science department. Like it was very collaborative.
yeah.
Um, in the it's different.
Now,
I
I
don't know
will
how else to
say
say it, but
that I
going to an
never.
HBCU is different. They build like I'll tell you this: if you ever in a room, if whenever I'm in a room with like a group of young professionals, I can always tell you who went to a PWI, and I can always tell you who went to a HBCU.
Yeah,
I might not be able to tell you which HBCU they went to, but I can tell their HBCU made.
yeah, yeah. Now, I will say that HBCUs are different. I never went
We
to
built
one.
different.
Yeah, I never went to one myself. And it's funny because I'll get to this when we get to your artwork. But I have family in Louisiana,
Hmm.
Baton Rouge to be exact. So it's Southern Grambling type of thing, and
Oh yeah,
and I
I
went.
know so many people that have gone to Grambling. Shout out to Grambling.
And I have to admit, I went to Southern's, the classic for Southern, uh, down at the Superdome. And that was the
It's different.
first, yeah, that was the first time I had ever been around so many blacks in just an environment like that. It was just amazing.
And I will add to that, I will say having a black educator matters. It's different when you have like at SCAD, your professors are kind of like, do the work, submit the work, get the grade. At Savannah State, you miss one class. I remember I decided I was going to sleep in and have my leisure, and I looked up and my professor was like, "You got 10 minutes to get to class, and you better get there before me." And I'm just like, "How did she get into my apartment? Why are you here?" But like when I tell you, people at HBCU they want to see you win. Like
Yeah,
they are
yeah.
behind you.
Yeah, and I think it's
Yeah.
like you said, they really prepare you to walk
Mhm.
out into this world ready to go. and handle
Yeah.
anything that comes along for sure. Mr. Trent, appreciate you tuning in there, brother. Good afternoon to you as well. And for everybody that's just jumping on, we are just getting this conversation kicked off with my friend, Miss Erin Merchant, illustrator, animator extraordinaire. So we're going to have some more fun here. And we're going to quickly, like I said, take a look at her work before we continue on as well. Like I said, does some amazing children. And like I said, that was like I said, as I saw some of these, I'm like, I think the author probably went to Southern or has a Southern kind of feel.
Ladanya, she went to North Carolina A&T.
Oh,
She is
okay.
loud and proud.
Oh man, and like I said, HBCUs they support their like I said when you go to games and things like that, man, do they support? So I like it. I feel like I kind of missed out. I wish I there was a part of me that wishes I had gone to HBCU, but again, you can see just the amazing work that you do. What's kind of your process when you kind of get a project and start to dig into the characters?
My first part of my process is I try to get to know the author or the project lead a little bit, and it kind of gives me a little insight into who they are, what they're about, what they're gonna do, and then I get into the story. Like I kind of sit and chew on the story for a little bit, and then I'll sit and do some little rough sketches. Um, I try to board the whole story in its entirety. Like I don't really do piece by piece. Like I sit down with it and I go from beginning to end. I know the one thing that frustrates a lot of my authors is I do the cover last because I can't even begin to wrap my head around it until like I flushed out the whole story.
Yeah.
But by the time they see it, it's like these pretty boards. They have no idea how many drafts I've done, how many sketches I've thrown away, how many times I've redone it. um so yeah, that's pretty much like my process. I'll board out the story, and that for me that's like the meatiest part of it all. Once I can visually convey the story, because it's a story, but with picture books you want to try to catch that in an image. So I once I get the storyboards down, and then I get to do the fun part, which is color. I love doing color. That's probably my favorite part, and I'll lay down like the flats and try to get like the color harmony of it all.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is like I said, I don't work in parts. I do the whole thing through.
From start to finish.
So I'll do the book from start to finish, and so you can see it as a whole because it's a whole story. Like each page is beautiful, but does it make sense in its totality? And then
Hmm.
after that, I go and I like to do what I call the magic. So I make it sparkle and shine.
Well, I can say you seem to you obviously have an affinity for children's illustration. I mean, do you
Mhm.
see yourself kind of venturing into, like I said, other stories, more adult animation, illustration type of
Oh,
work, or is kind of
I
children's books?
do. I do, but in a different facet. Like I want to tell I feel like, especially right now, specifically Black people, and that's like the entire diaspora. I don't do like African American, West
Yeah.
Indian. I do the entire diaspora. I'm rooting for everybody Black. I think as a whole, we need a break. So I do want to get into the more adult stories. So like, I want to tell, just like an epic love story, but the format is animation. Like a lot of people seem to associate animation with children's content, but I it's not a genre. It's a way to tell stories.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like romance is a genre, comedy is a genre, and you can tell those stories through any format. I
Yeah.
just choose to do it through animation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's I think in the recent years, um, I, that's kind of starting to change. That it's not just a children's thing because of all the stories that are coming out, especially the animations and work that, like I said, anime is bringing. Even though
Hmm.
they had children, it was a really deep subject that they were talking about in a cerebral way. And you really kind of had to,
Hmm.
sit back and think about the deeper thing that they were trying to tell within, like you said, the format of animation. So, what are your thoughts on some of the more recent stuff that's been coming out. Like I said, I don't know if you, like I said, um, you have Arcane, or you have Netflix, which has been putting out some amazing work,
They've
like
been cranking out
Arcane,
a lot of
yeah,
content.
like Arcane, um, you know,
Love, Death, and Robots. I don't know if you've
yeah,
had a chance to see
yeah,
that.
Love, Death, and
Yeah.
Robots is another one. And you're starting to see, like I said, a lot more deeper stories told in a more creative way. And you're starting to
Hmm.
see a lot more mixture of styles, not just the kind of
Yes.
Disney style. And it's funny because I had this uh, conversation with last week's guest, Eric, super talented animator with Sony, and talking about just, you know, people are kind of at this point where they're wanting to see something different. They're wanting to see the more grittier side of life, the more real stories, not just these
Hmm.
happy fairy tale endings that, we're kind of accustomed to.
Yeah, I feel like Into the Spider Verse really kind of like went ahead and pushed the needle on that. So I think now we're gonna start seeing. I feel like that's it's going to become a genre style of filmmaking because the way that's just such a beautiful film. Like you could do a whole college course
Yeah,
on the making of Into the Spider Verse. The way they melded, it was like 5 different styles of animation happening at once, and it worked. And then
yeah,
they figured out they. I tell people like the way I describe it is like they literally made a comic book jump off the page.
yeah, yeah. It actually, like I said, I don't know if you had a chance to check out uh, last week's episode, but I did show
Hmm.
because Ari worked on. He did some scenes with Spider-Man into this, and he's working on, and I didn't know that the new one is broken up into two parts. So there's going to be
Oh,
two.
probably.
Yeah.
I had to go see the first one multiple times because almost had a stroke the first time I saw it because I was like so excited that like they were actually trying something different and it was working.
Oh man, it was such a, like I said, I think those are one of those animations that just, like you said, kind of broke the mold of just, storytelling and how you can really
But
sell a
it's so
story.
interesting because they used to do that. So like when you think of the Prince of Egypt, and you think of a lot of Don Bluth animation, it wasn't always like that cookie cutter style.
Yeah,
Like there were multiple different styles. Like DreamWorks used to work in all kinds of different styles,
yeah,
and then I don't know what pushed them to get away from that. Like they've really simplified animation in a way that I think they assume the audience. I don't know if they assumed that the audience didn't want that anymore, but now you're seeing like there's a love for it. I don't know if you saw on I think it was on Netflix, The Mitchells versus the Machines.
yeah, yeah. I actually
That
just
movie
watched.
was
I've watched
awesome.
that like 6 or 7 times already, and I actually watched it last night. I don't know why, but it's just a fun animation, and like I said, and
It's
it,
fun.
yes, and I'm gonna have to put a link in the show notes because they just and I saw the post. Somebody that worked
The
on it,
art
they
book.
yeah, the art book and just the whole story art and how the sketches and all of that, and just
Hmm.
told how they put it together. And like I said, it's such a different, like I said, it's such a different, refreshing style, and it works.
Yes.
It just worked so well. So those are the kind of stories and things that you want to get into and eventually kind of move into and tell.
I also want to do something like in the I guess the teenage realm. I want us to have our whimsical Harry Potter, not necessarily like witches on broomsticks and warlocks and stuff, but like that big epic adventure.
Yeah,
I'm ready for it.
yeah. And to that point, like I said, we've talked about, and I always kind of ask this: do you feel like um, it's going to come from the independent creator, or do you feel like
Oh yes.
studios
If you're
now are
looking for
starting to?
like tap on, start looking to your independent creators. Like Chad, I don't know if you're familiar with Chad's Bottoms. He's got some
Yeah,
amazing stuff he's working on.
yeah,
Um, Loft Taylor has a lot of amazing stuff they're
yeah,
working on.
yeah,
Just it's people. It's so with the evolution of the internet, it's so easy now to get your content out to the masses and like on a worldwide global spectacle. Like you don't if you can figure out how to get it done, in which you totally can. Like my
yeah.
nephew, one of my nephews, he's really into gaming. He wants to get into gaming, and he's got it wrapped in his head that he has to go to college. And I was like, absolutely not.
Oh no, and
Look
actually,
up your favorite games.
yeah, and
Look up your
actually,
yeah. Check out the credits on your favorite game and look those people up. Most of them have YouTube channel and offer online classes and will show you from start to finish how to do it.
oh, definitely, and actually, um, I have he's coming on in a couple of weeks, and he created his own game, Slam Dunk, Grand Slam. I think it's Grand Slam Dunk. Emery, uh, Graham. Oh man, I don't want to get his name wrong. Emery, Graham, but he created his game
That's
from
dope.
scratch, and it's such an amazing game. And like I said, there's with the advent of internet, you have this access to people that you can connect with that are doing, like I said, their own thing and not waiting. And I tell people, you don't have to wait to get into Disney or Sony or these companies now. You can, like you just said, you have all these channels to put your work out there. Whether it's animation, whether it's you're a filmmaker, there's YouTube, there's all these channels to really get your idea out there. That's why I kind of love this time, because it is such a great time for content creators, and getting their stories out there. And I don't know if you
It's an
saw,
amazing time to be a creative.
yeah,
It's an
yeah,
amazing time to be a
uh,
creative.
and I just posted it into our Facebook group, and they were just on Shark Tank, company Black Sands.
Oh, Black Sands, yeah.
Yeah,
He
just
he's been grinding for a long time. I'm really
yeah,
happy for him,
yeah,
for them. He's put in the work.
yeah, yeah. So that's another one. Trying to get on for the show. So definitely, they're great new ideas, stories, characters are starting to really come out. Um, you just had your dad was a single dad. How was he as far as encouraging you with your talent and ability, or was he kind of like a lot of black parents that feel okay, well, I don't know if this
He
art is going to do anything, so you might want to have a fallback kind of position.
My papa is like any other immigrant parent. They want you to be successful. I know like a lot of other people were like, you should probably be a doctor or a lawyer or engineer, but he was like, my papa is he's very black and white. He's like, listen, he used to always say like, you know how people say like, don't like do it with half your butt, do it with your whole butt. That's how
Yeah.
my papa is. If you're gonna do something, let's do it. You say you want to draw, okay, I want to see you drawing every day. Fill up that sketchbook, go outside. Any art supplies I wanted, he'd make it happen. I know he got tired of me drawing on his wall, so he used to go and give me these.
He
You know,
said,
you
I
go to
got to get this girl a
the meat
book.
market. Yeah, and you get the roll of butcher paper. He would like line the walls. He was like, draw on this. Stop drawing on my
Oh man,
walls.
I think that's such an important thing, to have somebody that's really a champion of what you want to do and just supportive
Hmm.
of what you want to do. Like I said, my mom was, I come, basically raised by a single mom. My dad, they got
Yeah.
separated at 9, but she was one of those ones that she didn't quite see how it may, translate into
Yeah. They
something,
don't get it,
but they don't
but they support
discourage, yeah,
you.
they don't discourage you or anything like that. And fortunately, like I said, I had great teachers and people, in school that really saw the talent that I had. So you know how some counselors may steer you towards a different direction or something
Hmm.
like that. I didn't really have that. I had a counselor that, okay, you're great at art, so let's look up some art schools, that we can get you into that type of thing. So having a champion behind you really goes a long way.
It does. It really does. Just having that person that can just like he's just now wrapping his head around what I do, but he knows I draw. So he's just like she does. But now that he's like seeing stuff, he's like, oh wow, that's cool. I'm just like, stick with me, kid. We're going places. And so,
Big things, big things. Mr. Paris, Lockhart, Ron's Gone Wrong. I haven't watched that yet. Ron's Gone
oh yeah, that
Wrong
is a good one.
is another great
I watched
animation.
that one. I watched that and Encanto with my nieces and nephews, and they love both.
Yeah,
They love
Kanto, like
both.
I said, is really picking up a lot of steam lately. I've been seeing a
I'm
lot.
surprised they went with that subject matter. Like they danced on it a little. They didn't go like completely into it, but I'm surprised to see them not take the princess route.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think, like I said, you know, in companies like Dis or Netflix is I always use them as an example because they're one of those small. I won't say small because Netflix isn't small anymore, but they haven't been around like Disney or Warner Brothers, so they're not you know they're not tied into this formulaic kind of content that they put out, which,
Hmm.
like I said, you've been seeing a lot of creative content come out of Netflix. But do you feel like it's those, again, smaller studios that are going to step up? Now you're starting to see, studios like maybe Disney start to kind of venture out into other styles because they see it starting to, you know, really gain popularity, and that's what people want to see. But and I had this conversation with Jay Francis from Disney that like I said, while Disney is starting to make those changes, Disney has been doing they've been around for ages and ages and ages, and so
Hmm.
I liken them to the Titanic.
And
It's gonna
they pretty much know exactly what their audience wants to.
yeah.
Like they've had the time to like, we know this is what's gonna work, and we know what's not gonna work.
But and so are you encouraged with, like I said, just the type of characters now that are starting to come out in like Spider Verse, like Kanto, and all the other characters that are starting to kind of surface now.
I feel like we're there's getting some traction. We've still got a long way to go, but it's a start. It's a
Yeah,
start.
yeah,
I'm ready to start seeing like I have the pandemic. Uh, Now that some people have been able to kind of like wrap their heads around like I guess our new normal.
yeah,
People have had time to get some stuff done. They've had time to like be at home and really sit down with their passion projects and crank some stuff out. So I'm really excited for like a lot of my friends and my peers and a lot of the things that they've got coming out because I'm just like they're telling stories that we know traditional studios would never touch.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we know it's something that people want to see.
Yeah, and do you also feel like it's going to take? Because I always say it's like kind of like a top down. It's not just a top down, but or a bottom up. Do you feel like now that there's starting to be more people of color executives that are starting to get into these studios, that they're starting to be
Hmm.
champions of a lot more diverse and creative stories as well?
Yes and no. I mean, at the end of the day, when you work for like such a big conglomerate, you still there's still somebody that has to be answered to. Um, we saw a lot of like with basically last year's uprising. Like it was it last summer, the summer
Yeah,
before,
yeah,
with all of the civil unrest and the protesting and things, and it really shook up. I don't know about other industries, but I know like the animation illustration industry, it really shook things up, but we didn't really see much come out of it. Like we got a lot of seminars, we got a lot of webinars, we got a lot of portfolio reviews, but a lot of us are still trying to get like our get those meetings for pitches, get our content reviewed, get our portfolios looked at, get the jobs. Like a lot of us are still like on the hustle and the grind, and
yeah,
I'm not, and that could be the case for everyone.
yeah,
Um, I truly feel like we're not really gonna see the progress we want to see until we start owning our own. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be
Yeah,
an
yeah,
executive, but
yeah,
because like even like with someone like Issa Rae and Insecure, she calls a lot of shots, but at the end of the day, she has to answer to a network.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah,
when you don't own that network, there's still checks and balances, and it's not necessarily a good or a bad thing. It's just that's the cog in the wheel. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. And to that, and I kind of posed this question to a guest last year. Even you know, with those, do you feel like because we don't own the distribution, even if we create it, just the distribution channels that say a Disney or a
Mhm.
Warner or a Sony would have? Do you feel like even having these smaller studios, we're still going to have to partner, connect with the bigger studios because they've got the distribution channels to really get it out there to the world?
Yeah, I don't really think that's like a racial thing. I think that's just like if you're trying to get your story told, those are the big channels you're gonna have to go through. Like it's cool to have your stuff on YouTube, but to get your stuff on Netflix,
Yeah,
that's a whole nother ball game. To get your stuff on any type of big streaming platform, I think that's just like the little guy versus the big guy,
yeah,
really.
yeah, yeah.
And I think until we can get to the point where we can actually own the distribute, like
On the
until we
distribution,
can have a fully integrated pipeline
yeah,
where we're the own like it's the owner all the way down to the custodial services
yeah.
completely integrated, then we'll really start to see some major shifts.
Well, and to that point, do you feel like it's going to take um, people, say like Oprah or Tyler Perry, that really have uh, kind of much more clout and much more pull, or do you feel like even they still have to, in some form or fashion, kind of partner with the mainstream studios because they have the distribution?
Mhm. It's really cool to see what they build. I've always tell people like long term, what's my complete vision for what I want to do, and I always tell people like, if Oprah and Disney had a baby, it would be me. That's what I always tell people, and I think it's really cool to see what they built. Like even with Tyler Perry, you say what you want about Tyler Perry, but the proof is in the pudding. Like if you look up most of the top black shows that are on television right now, he's in like the top 10.
Yeah,
He has like the majority of the top 10.
yeah.
And then on top of that, he's built something to where now like those big major
Are
studios are
coming to
coming to
him.
him
Yeah,
now to
yeah.
film.
That,
But on the other end of that, he's still like from a distribution perspective, they still have people they have to answer to. They still have to go through like Hollywood, and they were saying like I was reading the other day about like the Academy War Awards and how it's like a necessary evil. Like you kind of have to do these things. You can't like opt out if you
yeah,
want to be, I guess, in like the bigger picture of it all. Because
yeah,
like to see that Oprah has like her own network,
yeah,
that's huge.
yeah, yeah. And like you
Like
said, to
feel
see,
how you want about Oprah or Tyler Perry, but
yeah, yeah, they
they've
built,
achieved something that's difficult for anyone to do.
yeah, no, and especially where they started, it's a big,
Hmm.
big, big achievement for sure. Um,
Oprah's HBCU made. She went to TSU.
did she go to TSU? Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm thinking Texas Southern, but I know there's a couple
No,
other
Tennessee State.
Tennessee
Not
State.
that. Not
Yeah, I
that
was going to
TSU.
say I know there's a couple other TSUs, and so like I said, so many out there. And it's like I said, off kind of topic. I know Deion Sanders is a big. He's I think coaching at a
And
HBCU, and
that's
he's
what I'm
been getting
saying.
a
I was
lot of,
watching.
yeah, he's been pulling in a lot of like black athletes, and he's really been a champion for HBCUs.
Um, we have to figure out how to get a lot of these, and that would just be a start. Like a lot of people in our industry, they go to places like they'll go to Ivy League school, so they'll go to like a Harvard or a Stanford, and they'll do like seminars. um how do we get y'all to the HBCUs
Yeah,
and not just like Howard or Clark? Like we got to get y'all to go to all the HBCUs.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
Look at, okay, so I always use Black Panther as an example.
Yeah,
Most of that cast went to Ivy League schools. I think Chadwick Boseman
yeah.
is
He
the
was
only one
only
that went to
one
an
that went
HBCU.
to HBCU. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
And I'm just like, imagine if you had a HBCU that had a dedicated arts program for
mm,
you to do theater, for you to do acting, for you to do visual art, graphic design, music, all of and have all of that talent at or spread out within the HBCUs, within,
yeah,
Black academia,
yeah.
we would be unstoppable.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get what you're saying, and I think, like I said, that's where this collective working together to achieve a
Hmm.
goal is going to benefit us. Mr. Wayne Carnegie, I appreciate you, brother, tuning in there. Good day to you, sir. It's funny.
Good day, sir.
Another super talented uh, islander, Jamaica, right, Wayne? I think he's from Jamaica.
Oh, big up yourself. Big
Yeah.
up yourself.
Miss Jasmine Hudson, the real.
That's my best friend. She don't play by her TSU.
Don't say that to TSU people or Texas Southern.
I was about to tell you they gonna be after you in them comments. Yes, she don't play.
The real TSU, Tennessee State University. Oh man,
Yes.
I didn't say that, people. Miss Jasmine Hudson said that. So hey.
TSU don't play.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Dion coaches at Jackson State. Yeah, Jackson State.
And he's doing what we were talking about. Like he
Yeah,
brings
yeah. He's
people
bringing in
in
a
to
lot
talk
of
to them.
black athletes that convincing them to go to
Hmm.
HBCU. So, like I said, I think it's gonna, and I've always said this too. It's gonna take this like collective, us getting past this kind of stigma of not wanting to work together or help each other or
Hmm.
support each other type of thing, and really kind of coming together. And I think when we realize that and start to embrace that, like you said, it's going to be an unstoppable, kind of tidal wave that just,
Yes.
really,
And just the possibilities are endless. But it's gonna take, they're gonna have, it's like that whole follow the leader. Like somebody has to take the initiative to do it and get it done. And then once people see it happening, then it'll take root.
yeah,
It'll take root and
yeah,
start spreading branches and stuff.
yeah. And that's
So
why, like I said, I would hope and you know, like to see, like I said, people like Tyler Perry and Oprah that have gotten to this certain level start to, and they have. Like I said, Tyler Perry, like I said, he's put out a lot of, films and shows about like, but I think there's such a big opportunity as far as just other creators, like you said, animation, stories,
hmm.
illustration, comic books, all these avenues of diverse talent that's out there that, like I said, if just given the opportunity and the exposure to really step out, would really make a
Hmm.
big impact.
Well, it's like that 400-year head start type of thing. Like just in cinema and film and media in general, Black people are trying to unerase themselves. Like I don't know if you saw, it's not animation, but The Harder They Fall. Like
Yeah, yeah,
him basically reenacting. I'm like, I grew up watching a lot of westerns. A lot of people don't know
yeah,
a lot of those characters in that movie are portrayed as white people in old westerns.
yeah,
Like we black cowboys were have been completely erased from the narrative.
yeah.
Questlove just did an amazing documentary on a music festival that happened back in the 70s. It was literally the same weekend as what was the music festival that ended like so violently in the 70s?
Uh, you got me on that.
I can't remember what it was called. But it was around the time of this other festival that happened. And I think like man was about to they was about to do the man walking on the moon,
Yeah.
all that stuff. And they had this amazing music festival and they recorded all this footage of it. And it's Stevie Wonder, it's all these amazing people, Sly and the Family
Yeah.
Stone. And it
Yeah.
was one whole weekend and they literally locked the footage away.
Wow. Wow.
And I'm just like, we're still trying to like show the world that we've always been here.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And then add on like you want to tell like whimsical fantastical stories. Like we've got so much work to do to correct
yeah.
what's already or re-represent what's already been erased
Yeah.
before we can even get into like the other stuff.
Yeah, and to that, which was kind of what Ari was saying, as far as there's just such a scope, and what a lot of other creators have said, it's not there's such a scope of stories that go beyond
Hmm.
the pimp and the drug dealer and the thug and all the
Just
stuff that
telling
we
stories that don't come from a Eurocentric gaze.
yeah and even like I said, just science fiction or this and that. There's such great stories, like just everyday life, or just the everyday things that we go through type of thing, and putting those stories out there. I think we want to see more of that. Like I said, we enjoy, like I said, the Black Panther movies and all the Marvel, superhero, type of things. But like I said, the love stories, which, like I said, Jordan Peele is another one. He just kind of
Hmm.
reinvented this horror, this the way blacks were kind of seen in horror, even though blacks have been in horror. Just the whole thing about, okay, well, blacks don't get into horror films, or we're usually
When
the first
actually
ones
we
killed off.
probably consume it the most.
And it's funny because there is I think it is on Netflix. Um, they were talking about black horror, the history of black horror films, and just
Hmm.
all the different spectrum in it. But I think, like I said, he came out and told it in such a fresh, different way that we hadn't seen before, which is
And
why
he's portraying horror from our perspective.
perspective, yeah, and
Cause like Get Out was literally just going home to meet your girlfriend's family for the weekend. But
yeah,
if you're black
yeah,
and her family is white, that's a horror story.
yeah, and it's funny because I was listening to, I can't think of the actor's name, but he played his best friend, the TSA officer. Um,
Lil Rel, he's the comedian.
yeah, yeah, and he was talking
Hmm.
about how they originally shot the ending of the show, of the movie, and he changed it at the last minute, because I think he said originally it was supposed to be an actual police officer that showed up, and he was supposed to go to jail, but they ended up changing it, and just that dynamic of, like you said, he went through all of this, and then justifiably killed the family, but then
Hmm.
you know, and I'm thinking of it too. As a black man, when you see police lights come on, you're thinking,
It's a
just
wrap.
it's a wrap. You're going to jail, even if you're justified in what you're doing. And so, like I said, those little type of twists, um, are things that really just, like I said, just change the whole genre and whole perspective of how, you know, we as people of color, black, can tell stories, and like I said, and it goes beyond blacks, because it's Asians are facing the same thing. They're trying to tell their own
Hmm.
stories. Native Americans are trying to tell their own honest
They
stories
get
from
no Native Americans and Indigenous people get no visibility,
you
like
know
none.
and I think when, like I said, you start to see creatives, like you said, from these diverse groups step up and tell their own stories from their own perspective, that's when I think, things are really going to change, and, we're really going to see just the diverseness of what's
Yeah,
out
like look
there.
at people like what's his name? He directed Thor. Taika. Why
Yeah,
I can't say his last name, but he's the reason you're starting to see so many indigenous shows and content come out because he literally creates a space for them and he's just like, go tell your story.
yeah,
I'm gonna bankroll this. Go tell your story. Now it has to be a good story,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he's
Of
creating
course.
the space for them to tell their own narrative.
Yeah, and that's why I'm excited and looking forward to the up and coming creators that are coming out that are starting to put together their own studios, their own content, and really be
Hmm.
champions of these other creatives, diverse creatives that are out there that have these good stories. And again, like you said, of course, it has to be a good story, and it has to be something that they want to bankroll. But if nothing else, what I've learned doing this show and connecting with all the people, all the guests that I have had on, all the guests that I've connected with that haven't been on yet, there's such a diverse pool out there. And not just in this country. Like I said, we were talking before the show. I'm seeing a lot of great animation and talent come from Africa, South Africa,
Hmm.
Nigeria, just that
Ghana as
area.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the world. There's so many great, talented people out there that just, they have ideas and they have stories. They just need a way to get their story out there and get it put out there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I
Uh,
tell people all the time, don't be afraid to network across. If you're trying to tell a story and get something made, tell your friends, talk to your friends. You never know, you might be sitting next to the person that has the skill sets to help you get to the next
yeah,
phase of your project.
yeah. And while, like I said, I've come across my share of people that have put, solo people that have worked. They worked on it for years, but no project is a solo project. You're always going to need help somewhere in
You
it.
want to get your project done, you
Yeah,
gotta collaborate.
yeah.
I've
Collaborate.
learned that. Like you can't do it all on your own. Anybody who tells you they did it all on their own, they're lying.
Yeah, yeah. It's very rare that somebody has they may have done a good chunk of it, but if it's
Hmm.
you know whether it's music, audio, or something, they've had to have worked with somebody to help them see their vision out there, and that's where,
Yeah.
like I said, I would you know that's where I see myself. I want to be the kind of studio that has the resources to help a lot of people and really bring a lot of people together.
Hmm. I always tell people like network, don't be afraid to network and be kind. Like I can't stress that enough. The amount of opportunities, the grace that I've gotten, the opportunities that I've gotten, the people that I've met have always resulted from me just being a kind person.
Yeah.
Don't be a difficult person to work with. Put your
Yeah.
ego away.
That's the one thing that I have learned uh, kind of in this space is it's a relatively the community small, and so
Hmm. Everybody, they may
people,
not say it, but everybody knows each other.
everybody knows everybody or has come across people, those people in their path somewhere along the way, whether they went to school with them, whether they worked at another studio with them. And that's what I found generally is how artists move around from studio to studio or project to project because okay, I worked with this, I went to school with this guy, he's great, super talented, let's bring him on. Or you know I worked with him at this last studio. And reputation really does follow you, and that's their biggest thing, and what most studios look for. They don't care how super talented you are, if you don't get along with or fit into the culture of the
Hmm.
studio, you're not going to last long, and you're going to get, they're going to say he's difficult to work with.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Mr. Trent True Altamont. Is that a yeah? Elaborate on that a little more. I've never heard of Altamont. I'm not sure if that's a animation or a movie that's come out. Love to know about it for sure. Uh, what do
What's your
you
favorite animation? Like, what's your favorite thing that you've recently seen?
Man, I've seen so many. Like I said, Arcane, love Arcane. I don't know if you've seen that on Netflix.
Hmm.
That's a great one.
I haven't had a chance to see that yet.
Yeah,
I'm adding
you,
it to
you
the
should
list.
definitely
I literally
watch
have
it.
like a running list.
Yeah, that's definitely one you should watch. Of course, love Mitchell versus the Machines. That's just an amazing
Hmm.
one. Raya and the Last Dragon. I loved.
Oh, that was really good.
Yeah, Raya and the Last Dragon. I loved. Actually had. I don't know if you've seen Maya and the Three. Uh,
No, it's on my list.
yeah,
It's on
that's
my
another
list.
one. And actually had Everett Downing on the show. He worked on the project.
He had a project that I don't know if he'll ever come back to, but I used to follow Everett like a hawk. He used to have a project. Well, he probably does. I don't know if he shelved it or not, but it's called the Book of Mojo, and it
Okay.
was like this mystical project that he. And then
Yeah.
I think they tried to do some crowdfunding, but they didn't meet their goal, so he kind of like put it on the shelf. I really want him
Actually,
to go
he's
back to that
got.
project.
He probably has shelved it because he's actually got animated series called My Dad the Bounty Hunter coming out. I think it's this year
Oh yeah, I saw that.
on Netflix. So he's been working on that. He was saying, but just all these ideas and stories. Like I said, there's that's why I'm so excited about, like I said, the time, the people that I've connected with because they're doing such great work and there's so many great
Hmm.
ideas starting to come out. Mr. Trent, I think elaborated on it. I think that was a I think that was the music festival you were talking about.
The bad
Bad
ending,
ending.
yeah, it might have been.
Yeah. Um, man, like I said, I love, I love it all. Like I said, as long as it's a great story or well done, it's I just love seeing it. And I use this as an example as well too. I love animation. I just love storytelling. Um,
Hmm.
but I've referenced it a couple of times, and you should look it up on YouTube. I thought of you, and it was done. It was, and he done, and that's what I was saying. Some people, they do it themselves. He's a former animator with Disney. Ryan, oh, man, I can't. It's Ryan something or something Ryan.
It's always when you need it, it
Yeah,
leaves you.
but the short is Thought of You, and it's just a 2D drawing done to music, and it's so. And he doesn't have faces on it, but it's just so beautiful.
It
And
looks like it's on brown paper and they're
yeah,
dancing.
and they're dancing, and it's
I've
hand
seen that. It's
drawn.
gorgeous.
It's just
It's
so beautifully
gorgeous.
done. And he
He
has a
conveys so
behind,
much
yeah,
emotion in those
he,
drawings.
and he has a behind the scenes of him making it. And even though, of course, even though he drew it, I think he said it must have taken him like 200,000 drawings to do the whole thing. But even something as long as that, of course, like we were saying, he worked with a choreographer to choreo, to really get the dance together. Of course, he worked with a musician, but just simple things like that. From the simple animations to, like I said, I love anime, Akira. Like I said, there's so many new ones coming out. It's just insane. But those are some of the newer ones that I've been watching. Like I said,
Hmm.
like Raya and the Dragon. Like I said, Maya and the Three. Uh, oh man, there's just too many to name out there. And
There's so
like
much content out right now.
yeah, yeah. And then I'm like I said, excited about, the newer stuff that I've kind of heard about but hasn't come out. Like I said, Air they're finishing up the new Spider Verse movies.
Hmm.
So that's gonna be coming out, I think, middle of this year, towards the end of this year, 2 or 3.
And
So
it's
I
so
mean,
crazy that these kids, like, this is their first thing. Like, I was trying to get my niece and nephew to watch Spider Man when I was home for the holidays, and I put on the Spider Man with
oh,
Tom
Tom
Holland. And he
Holland,
was like,
yeah, yeah.
that's not Spider-Man. And I was like, yes, it is. And he was like, I watched Spider-Man with Papa, and Spider-Man looked like me. That ain't Spider-Man. And I'm like, oh wow, that's like he's
Like,
like, TT, I
oh.
know you trying to play me, and no,
Oh man,
my Spider-Man is brown.
oh man, like I said, hey, the power of seeing characters that look like you. Even though, and
Hmm.
like I said, I grew up on, I love Spider Man, and love comics and cartoons. So I grew up. My big thing was I was a comics, kind of buff. So I love
Oh
Peanuts.
yeah.
Yeah, I love
Oh yeah, the
Charles
peanuts
Schultz.
and
Charles Schultz and Peanuts was my thing. Um, but seeing a character, that looks like you, um, and
it has
it
weight. It
has
has
a weight.
impact.
It does. It has weight, and it's hard to explain to somebody that doesn't get that, or
Hmm.
they don't think about that because you know most of the characters are white, so they don't have to think about.
We, my friends and I, because of that, like to your point, we started a gift wrapping company called Black Paper Party
Yeah,
because
and I
we were
wanted
trying
to
to be
talk
on our
about that. Yeah,
aunties and like be the auntie, the ultimate aunties, and it got time to wrap the gifts, and we couldn't find any black or brown Santas. And growing up for me, and then that's also the point to my dad. I didn't know that like a lot of the black Santas and stuff that I saw growing up, he was going out and buying white Santas and painting them because of the way I grew up. If it wasn't black, it didn't come in our house. Like
yeah.
we didn't get to have
Oh
white Barbie
wow. Okay.
dolls. We like it had to look like us, and I didn't know he was going that far to make sure we had representation.
Yeah.
So we started Black Paper Party, and it's like gift wrap and paper
Yeah.
bag and gift bags and ornaments, but just to see the kids like reacting to gift wrap with them on it, like, and it's so interesting because companies that didn't think about it before are now reaching out to us like, you're right, we should have been thought about this.
Yeah.
And then it's so interesting because black people are the majority of the buying power,
Yeah. We spend
but we're not
dollars.
being
We
catered
spend
to.
dollars. Yeah.
We spend bank around, especially around the holidays.
Don't even have to be the holidays. We spend money. Like I
Right.
said, the dollars don't last long in the black community. That's just the reality of
Mm-mm.
it. Dollars don't
But
circulate
just to
long.
think about all the money that's spent around Christmas and
Yeah.
you don't find any gift wrap that looks like you.
Yeah. 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 And I was gonna bring that up because that is another big thing that you and your friend are doing, creating Black Holiday paper. And to your point, I think that was kind of the thing that you don't necessarily think so much about when you're like really young, but as you get
Hmm.
older, you start to realize
You become
all you
aware.
did was just
Yeah.
paint the all they just like they did. So like I said, I was also a big like I said GI Joe you know buff as well, but even to like Peanuts, Franklin pretty much looked like Charlie Brown. So
Hmm.
when
And
you
that's
think,
what
you
separates
know,
us from the other gift wrap because the people that do, it's very obvious that you took your white Santa and just colored him brown.
and
But then
which
you
is
didn't
what they
bother to make the
did.
right brown, so he looks ashy or he looks discolored, and he's up here with this sharp nose and these little beady eyes, and I'm
Yeah,
like, it doesn't look
yeah,
like nobody Santa.
yeah. And actually, I see a lot of her posts on. I may try and get her on. She doesn't necessarily kind of fall into, the the space, but she she creates black dolls, and she's
Hmm.
been man. I hate. I need to come a little more prepared, but she posts a lot about they came out with a black doll line, and how
Hmm.
the features look of course are more authentic. The hair is more authentic, that type of thing. And to your point,
I love when I hear the kids be like, "That looks like me," or they'll say like their
yes.
Santa looks like their papa or whatever, and I'm just like, oh, my heart.
It's like you said, it's such a powerful thing. I want to make sure I don't lose all these comments. Miss Cherry Williams, I hope I said that right. Cherry,
Yeah, Cherry
Cherry.
Williams.
To have representation.
That's my other best bud.
Yeah, well, it's good to see y'all on supporting your best bud there. But to having representation that your Spider Man is black. Like I said, it's a different. You think differently, and like I said, it just makes it has
Hmm.
such weight when you can see, and especially when
Yes.
the features and like you said the natural hair. Like I said, before, even the black Barbies had straight hair. They didn't have
Hmm.
the locks
Or
and
they
the
were all
things
the
like
same
that.
size.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
they were.
type of thing. And considering, like you said, the dollars are there, it's such an untapped market to where, like you said, creators now can start to come into this space and kind of step into this space and fill that void, and to that point to where store stores are going to start looking for you because they see that that's something that people are spending dollars on. Like I said, the God, I forget her name. I think something Charles, but she's got her stuff at Walmart, Target. All these stores now are
Hmm.
starting to reach out to her, because they see that kids want that.
It's a need. Yeah, it's a need.
You know,
Healthy Roots dolls.
yes,
Yeah.
healthy roots dolls. Yes,
I follow her on Twitter. Yeah, she goes hard
yeah,
for her brand.
yeah.
Yeah.
She does. I see. I don't. She does a lot on. I guess all her because I see her on LinkedIn. That's where I see her
Oh,
post
I see
at.
her on Twitter a lot.
But yeah, healthy roots styles, and I may try and get her on too, because like I said, I think that's it's
She's in
such.
the same. She does like she makes product for kids content.
Yeah, yeah. Yep, healthy roots. Definitely, Jerry, like and share everyone. That's how we get out there,
Thank
sharing and
you.
putting letting people know. And like I said, that's a big reason of why I do this show, because like I said, for me, I loved comics, but I didn't see characters and people that looked like me. I still did it. I still read. I, I didn't stop reading Peanuts, but think of how much more
Hmm.
impactful it would have been had I seen more black comics.
Listen, I used to go hard for Captain America. I used to go hard for Captain America because I was like, I'm an army brat. My daddy's in the army. This is the closest I can get to like representation. And my dad saw like I was going hard for like Spider Man, the X Men. I came home. He was like, "Let me change your life," and he introduced me to like Black Panther, Blade. He Doctor Voodoo. Like he
Yeah.
introduced me to all of them. And I was like,
Uh,
and he was like,
but
"Yeah, go ahead."
but see, even to that point, because Black Panther was created by a white person, so
Right.
originally, so that's what I mean. As far as it lends a certain voice when, like I said, that's why I love these new comics that I don't know if you've seen his work. Oh man, Marcus Williams, super crazy
Yes.
talented
I haven't
comic
talked to him
book.
in a while, but yeah, Marcus is
Oh
amazing,
man,
and the way he can flip a story,
oh man, he
like he did the Tuskegee Airmen. He had a
Tuskegee,
run,
yes, Tuskegee,
the
that's
Tuskegee
growing.
Airmen.
Yeah,
That
and
was
I
so
actually
good.
feel like that's gonna be uh, uh, animation somewhere down the
Do I
line.
have it up here?
Yeah, I feel like somewhere
I
down the
have it
line,
somewhere.
um, that is going to be put out. But that is an amazing, amazing uh, comic book. And seeing other creators like that, I just love when I bring them on because, like I said, they have
Are you
such.
familiar with Roy? I think it's Roy Kopu. He's of Unique Studios.
I, that name sounds familiar. That name sounds familiar.
He's got some yeah,
Miss
one through
Jazz,
three
Miss
comics.
Jasmine, yes, your Yalitza Jean Charles. That is her name. Yes,
Yeah, I think she's Haitian.
yes. Does some amazing, amazing dolls. Yes, because sometimes a black character written by a room full of white writers can sometimes give a skew. Well, it always is because, like I said, they'll give their perspective. Unless there's other black writers in the room that are correcting them on things, they're going to give their
Mhm.
kind of perspective on it, which is why, like I said, you've seen so many of these one dimensional black characters out there because they didn't have somebody that, you know, of the race that they were trying to draw, really give them a true perspective from, you know, what they were trying to create. So that's why I love the comic creators and the artists that I've been kind of connecting with because they've been bringing their own flavor of these characters and even new characters that you just haven't seen. Like you said, Newton. I always mispronounce his last name. Leveloy had him on. Super talented comic book. He's into the kind of horror, black horror
Yeah.
comics, but does great work. Um, like you
I love
said,
how we're just like sprinkled through all of the different mediums.
yeah, yeah, and like I said, as and I would love to be a space that is able to invest in that. That's where a studio that's I was, kind of saw myself as maybe a mini Tyler Perry for animation and comics, that type of thing. Not quite
There's a
as
studio
big.
out in St. Louis.
Yeah, uh, oh man, I've actually been trying. I think I know who you're talking about. They did produced Hair Love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Line Forge.
yeah, Lion
I think
Forge.
Saxton Moore is over there.
Yeah, actually, I think he's supposed to. I connected with. Actually, I was supposed to have Carl Reed on, but then I guess projects started coming in, so he connected me
Mm-hmm.
with their director Saxton. So we had a call, and so he's another one that's supposed to be coming
Yeah,
on.
Saxton's dope.
Yeah. So, like I said, studios like that, kind of like along that line,
Mm-hmm.
really putting and having the dollars and the clout to put behind a lot of these great stories and great creators that I've been connecting with. And that is kind of a long term dream that I would love to see in fruition. But that's what excites me about this time because there's just so much great content.
I think that's the one of the I don't know I don't know how else to say this, but I think that's one of like the upsides to the pandemic. It gave creatives that aren't necessarily in traditional Hollywood or in LA, it gave them or a part of huge studios, it really gave them a chance to shine and like say, yo, I'm here, this is what I can contribute.
Yeah,
Put me in, coach.
yeah, yeah. And to the point, excuse me, and to the point, like I said, even the artists and creators that I've connected with that are working at studios, they're all working on their own project or they all have their own kind of pet
Hmm.
project that they're working on. So that's what, looking to tell, like I said, their story and get it out there. So that's, like I said, why I love this community, because, and again, a big reason of why I really love the show because it connects so many different types of people, and I would I always highly encourage all my guests to connect with each other and see where you may be able to work with each other, that type of thing, because I think that's where the magic is going to happen when we start to kind of tap into each other and kind of use each other as a launching off point.
Yes.
Let's see. Miss Charlie Williams back at it again. I need to do my homework for real and write down all these names of these wonderful creators. Sure. I tell you what, just go to my YouTube channel. You'll see a lot of them. you know, a lot of them. Like I said, I try. That's the beauty of the internet. Like I said, and that's what really opened my eyes, and not just here in the states. Like I said, I've had on some super talented people from Canada, super talented people from the islands, super talented people. Like I said, there's a lot of great content coming out of Africa. So there's just so much great content out there, um, and not just from us, but from, like I said, the Latinos, just a lot of great, talented, diverse people out there that are really starting to want to tell their own stories. Like I said, um, the last guest of last year, Jeanette Lara, great Latina animation writer. And she's really passionate about pushing Latinas in anime, and actually, she's part of a
Yeah.
group, Latina in Animation. So it's you
Hmm.
know
Latinx.
yeah, Latinx. So that's why I say it. It's not just every person, every group of culture of color is going through the same thing and having to deal with the same issue of why.
You're
How
right.
can we get our stories and get our creators out there? Asians, uh, you know, doing the same thing. Everybody's doing the same thing, and when we can kind of find this way of coming together and working together, oh man, oh man, oh man, the stuff that you'll start to see. So that's what my hope is moving forward, is you'll start to see much more collaboration within these groups that share this same common thing that we're dealing with.
Yes. That's still, it's so mind-boggling in 2022 that we're all still fighting to be heard,
Yeah, I
to be
mean, like
seen
you
and
said, I
heard.
think it's a on that's kind of an ongoing thing, and probably will be even in all the strides that we make. I think that's just the nature of what we go through as people of color. Um, Kind of having to kind of create and invent ourselves, and like I said, just take what we got and just make it so much better. And it's interesting. You see, and it's in everything from sports to music. It's always this kind of moment where we get into it and we put this flavor and bring this flavor to it. The same thing happened to golf when Tiger Woods got into it. It just kind of just reimagined it in a different way and saw, oh, okay, we can play at just
We show out every time we get an
every
opportunity.
time. Like I said, tennis, all this thing, and not to say that we're better or anything like that, because they lose, they get beat, but realizing that we have this this flavor that we bring, and there's a market for it, and it's just out there. So to this point, I mean for you on this journey that you've gone, what's been the best piece of advice that you've been given that kind of serves you, and you kind of come back to?
Oh wow, I've been given a lot of advice. Um, if you show up for your gift will show up for you.
Oh, ooh, that's amazing there. So amazing. I got to put a explosive on that one. I got to put a bomb on that one, guys. It was. Oh man, if you show up, it will show up for you. Remember that, people. Oh man, I tell you. Um, you hope, like I said, you had telling your bio that you know you hope your illustrations are a window for people. What do you hope that they see, through your work?
Um, I want them to truly see themselves. Like I want them to see themselves reflected in the stories that are being told. Something that they not only can enjoy, but they can pass on, like for generation to generation. Like uh, for me growing up, that person was Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
Like I'll never forget like the first time I saw her in Roger and Hammerstein's Cinderella. Like everybody was like, of course, obsessed with Brandy and Whitney Houston. But when she came out in that purple gown and had a crown in her dress, I was like, Me. That's who I. Because me and my sisters were like, I want to be her. I want to be her. And Whoopi came out. I was like, that's me. I'm the queen.
Oh man, oh man, oh man.
But just
I,
to see her, like she's been everything from a queen to a nun to a
yeah,
nanny to like she's done it all, and then she's even done animation. Like
yeah,
she's done it all. I've seen her
yeah,
in every facet
yeah,
of my life.
yeah, yeah. She was in Lion King. Yeah, loved it.
And I
So
don't know if people remember. There was an animated film that Don Bluth did called the the Page Master with
yeah,
Macaulay Culkin.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, she was the fairy godmother in there.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, animation is such a it's such and illustration is such a powerful medium for telling stories and really making an impact.
Mhm.
And I think that's what attracts most, animators, illustrators, and creators. It's just the impact that it made on you as a child going through it. Whether it was you're a comic book person reading Marvel and whatnot, and then seeing, you know, characters like you said that look like you. It just makes such a big impact on you.
Yeah, so I moved. I mean, being an army brat, I moved around so much. After a while, there was nothing to do but read comic books and watch movies. So
So
it had like a very lasting impact on me.
So what if I mean we kind of talked a little bit about some of them, but what are some of the children's books that have kind of inspired you that you kind of like and that you kind of see now coming out?
Um, Let me see. There are a couple. I know like Vashti Harrison, anything she does, or Vashti Harrison, anything she does, it's gorgeous. It's whimsical. Um, I really like the Fresh Princess book that just came out.
Mm,
It's like a spin on the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, but it's from like a girl's perspective.
yeah.
That was really really good. Um, what are some other books? The Shady Baby. Uh, Tyra did that one. It was Tyra Whitaker did that one. The Shady
Yeah.
Baby. I think it's on based Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade's baby. That was really good.
Okay.
So and you know the stories that I do, like I'm not up there with the big and the famous, but I'm
Yeah,
doing my
you
part.
are.
I'm
You
telling my
are.
story.
Oh man, like I said, I see so much more coming out from you, and excited to see that as well.
Yeah.
Um, if and like I said, everybody again is just joining us. We've had a fun conversation with, like I said, my guest and friend, Miss Erin Merchant, super talented illustrator, animator, and like I said, we are going to see some big things. I know coming from you. If you could, you know, stand in front of your younger self for a
Hmm.
moment, what one piece of advice would you give your younger self now, knowing what you know now?
I It gets better. It gets better. Your gift is gonna take you to places you wouldn't even imagine. I always knew that I would draw, but I never pictured it on this kind of scale. I've
So,
never pictured it on this kind of scale.
what's your 5 year goal? Where do you want to see yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I want to see um, Black Paper Party, Our Baby, in all major retailers. Um, I'm trying to get my studio up off the ground. I'm trying to get that going. So in 5 years, I want us to have our first uh, short film done. Working on a short film, so hopefully we'll have that done. And I would love to have like a theatrical release of it
Mm,
in theaters.
yeah,
If not on theaters, then on like a platform like Netflix or Disney Plus or Hulu or something like that.
yeah,
Um, but just to have to see all of my projects out for the masses to enjoy in like 5 years. That's where I see myself.
well,
I want to
hopefully,
have.
like I said, I'm one of those studios that's able to do that. Like I said, I feel like I'm, trying to do that a little bit with the show now.
Yes.
Mr. Trent,
This is so dope.
there are a lot of writers as well. Yeah, like I said, it's not just, uh, and I've had on, like I said, writers, producers, directors, animators, uh, comic book writers, and which is why I say anybody kind of in this space, and there's a lot of positions in this space of what people do. From producer to showrunner to writer. You know, everybody in this space has plays an important role, and that's what I try to do. Bring them on to help highlight the role that they play and what they can do, and just bring a spotlight to them as best I can. And my goal, like I tell you guys every day, is to make this show as big as I can, to make the platform as big as I can, to really highlight the vast, and I haven't even scratched the surface of all the talent that's
Right.
out there. Um, um, but I do
Reach for
love.
the stars, dog.
I am trying to reach for the stars. I'm trying to reach for that planet way beyond the next galaxy. And like I said, I have a goal of what I would like to bring out, um, and being that resource to bring out, like I said, not just our stories, but a lot of other diverse people that are out there that don't have the platform to do that. Um, and I know there are a lot of great stories out there. And I think, like I was saying earlier, when we get to this point where we're able to be comfortable working and collaborating with each other, you know, the stories will be so amazing. I just can't
They
wait.
will.
I just cannot wait. Um, Aaron, like I said, I cannot thank you enough for just wanting to be a part of the Color of Motion family, agreeing to be on the show, and just share your gifts and your talents with the audience there.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This has been a blast.
For sure. Um, Again, like I said, you see her amazing work. This is another one of her titles that she illustrated for us. She does some incredible work, and you definitely want to make sure that you connect with her. She's on Instagram, of course. You can check out her website, JennyAaronMerchant.com. Behance, she's on. I'm definitely going to put all this information plus the information of her uh, products, Black Christmas products. It's not just Christmas. It's not
Yeah,
just holiday.
blackpaperparty.com.
Yeah, Black Paper
Well, right
Party.
now we're only doing Christmas, but the plan is to expand out into evergreen holidays as well. So be on
Okay.
the lookout. We got some really amazing things coming.
That's going to be in the show notes as well. So all this information is going to be in the show notes on the YouTube channel. Make sure that you go there. Uh, Big thing is support. That's how we,
Yes.
really make a difference. It's one
Like and
thing.
subscribe and share
Yes,
with all of your people.
it's one thing to follow. It's one thing to like. But when you really support, that's where the rubber hits the road, so to speak. So you find a content creator that's got a Patreon page, got a you know Kickstarter campaign that they're doing. They got products that they're putting out. Support them, and that's what really keeps them going, and really, like I said, helps them to continue to do and create the things that are so needed out there for sure. Uh, Simply roll. Ooh, wait, I don't like that on me, top of me. So let me switch. Let me switch scenes here. I don't like that on top of me. So let me take that off. Simply robotics. Looking forward
Oh
to
yeah.
what Black Paper Party will do. I am too. Like I said,
That's another filmmaker you need to connect with,
Simply
Monique.
Robotics.
Oh yeah, she's into stop motion.
Oh man, Simply Robotics. We're gonna have to connect because I have not had a stop motion. I love, like I said, I love stop motion as well. You know, and haven't had a stop. I've had some motion designers on, but nobody that's
Hmm.
done stop motion. So definitely want to connect with you, Simply Robotics, and see about getting you on the show again. My goal is to highlight the talent that's out there because that is the only way. Well, I won't say it is. I won't say it's the only way, but I try and make it my way of getting you out there and highlighting you. Of course, I'm not as big as Tyler Perry yet or Oprah, that kind of platform, but hey, I'm working at it. And so I definitely want to highlight your skills, your talents, share your journey. And it's been so much fun, sharing your journey, Aaron.
Thank
Really,
you.
and to take a step back, like I said, I do want to thank you for one initially connecting with me, and like I told you when we first connected, you know, I consider you a friend now, and so anyway,
Absolutely.
that I'm able to help and support what you're doing. Look forward to hey, working on a project together. Maybe we need to sit and talk about some animation stuff, see what we can do. That type of thing. I'm always down for, you know.
Same here. Same here. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really do appreciate it. This was
Oh,
really fun.
no. Thank you. Uh, Everybody, again, all her information is going to be on the show notes. Make sure that you jump on over there, connect with her, uh, patronize her, support Black Paper product or Black Paper
Like paper
Party,
party.
Black Paper Party, and support what they're doing because, like I said, that's the best way that you can help is support the things that we do. Support me, support the channel, share this with somebody that you know it's going to benefit. Help get the word out there, not only for what she's doing, help get the word out there for the color of motion. Like I said, we're really trying to highlight uh, the diverse talent that is out there. Um, Aaron, if you could hang out for just a second in the green room
Okay.
while I close out the show, definitely would appreciate that for sure. Everybody, again, please help me thank my friend and guest, Miss Erin Merchant. Guys and gals, this has been another great show. Like I told you, she was going to kick it off for the ladies in style. So she did just that. She brought the fire and had such fun sitting down and talking with her and sharing everything that she's doing. So, again, make sure that you, one, go over to the channel, check out all her information, connect with her. It'll definitely go a long way. Want to thank all of you for joining me for another great episode of The Color of Motion. It's been fun as always. Can't thank you guys enough for supporting the show and just supporting what I do and the content I try and create. Um, it fuels me. So I can't thank you enough for all of that. Make sure that you tune in next week because next week's going to be another great episode for sure. And super looking forward to my next guest, Mr. Walter Giovanni, super talented comic book artist out of South America. Yeah, South America. So super talented to be having him on. Another great guy, and looking forward to it as well. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that. Uh, Man, like I said, we've come to the end of another great show. I can't thank you enough for joining me. Um, I say it every week. I appreciate that. And like I said, this year is going to be a big year for sure. Trying to make it as big as possible. And can't do it without you, the viewers. So, thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you have an even better week. But make sure that you tune in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, because you're not going to want to miss it. Have a great one, everyone. Cheers.